Hi, I'm Bonigala. Welcome to Awaken Your Brand. Now, when it comes to audience, it's a very tricky subject. Why? Because 90% of business owners, entrepreneurs, founders of startups believe that they know their audience. And in a way, that is true, right? Because they have come up with that idea for that product or service. And of course, when you're thinking of a product or service and the idea behind it, you are, of course, thinking of who is going to benefit from that and who would become customers. So it is safe to say that 90% think and probably do know to a certain extent who their audience is. But the biggest factor that influences everything about a brand and its success is understanding the audience. In fact, demographics, which was, the way to understand an audience, and it's still kind of being used, quite a lot, is helpful to a certain extent. So demographics, understanding, okay, this is the geographical area. Let's say New York, New Jersey, right? Within this area, our audience is male, 35 to 55, who have an income of $150,000 or more per year, who are fairly educated, who love to travel, and who are looking for great experiences. Now, that's a pretty good kind of persona to start off with. It's based on demographics for, let's say, a travel company, right? So if if yours is a travel company, you're trying to, let's say, create customized itineraries, right? So it's a service where, a person whom I've just described logs on to your website, is planning on going to Italy, for example, and has, 20 days that he or she can spend on this travel. And then your service using AI, whatever, or maybe hand made, is put together by a person, an itinerary of what to do to maximize budget, maximize, and all that. Now, demographic sounds good. It's enough. And most people would stop there and then get on with, creating the logo, creating the website. And of course, they're creating the product in the back end, the web app. And then they go on marketing, Facebook ads, Instagram, simply just saying, okay, it should be a man 35 to 55. So what do they like, right? So actually, even that kind of thinking does not happen because demographics hold you back in terms of analyzing what is it that this person really cares about. That's where psychographics come in. So psychographics is digging deep and understanding the likes and dislikes of one particular individual within that group. Now, could that individual represent the entire group? No, people are not homogeneous, right? Though they cannot. And that's why you use archetypes. So this concept and this tool of the archetypes really helps. So when you pick, because you need to focus your attention, your energy, your kind of approach to one person. Okay, let's pick that idea up there. Let me just talk quickly about this problem of the audience, right? A lot of businesses think that when they use the word audience, and I use the word, of course, audience, and everyone uses the word audience, it's like they think of a group of people, like 100 people, 1,000 people, they're just standing there, right? They are our audience. And I'm going to stand on top of the rooftop with a megaphone, and I am broadcasting this message to that audience. And they all have their credit cards in their hands, then they will buy my stuff. This is the general idea of an audience. And most messages are directed towards that group of audience. Now, when I'm talking in this video, I am addressing you, this one individual sitting in front of your computer watching this video as my audience. And I say, you guys, or I might say, welcome to the show, Brand Builders. Here, it's quite different from when you're communicating a message of your brand to a customer, a potential customer, right? Because they're not all standing together in a group receiving your message. They're just like this video. They're behind a computer or whatever it is, a phone, and they're receiving your message as an individual. They don't feel like they're part of that audience. They don't sit there thinking, okay, I'm a male, 45, and I make $200,000 a year, and therefore, no, that's, they don't even feel a part of any group. In fact, they don't even feel a part of the traveler group, the tourists. In fact, they may actually hate the idea of the tourist. So going back to the archetypes. Now, an archetype is the psychology. It's the psycho kind of profile of an individual that can then represent a group. And typically, the most effective kind of audience personas are made up of one or more archetypes, right? So they are made up of one or more archetypes that come together in a ratio. So you could have 60% of one archetype, 40% of another archetype. What does that mean? How can a person, an individual, be 60% one type? And because our minds are complex, right? And remember this, we, you, I, your target audience, your customers, we play different roles in our lives depending on different contexts, right? I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a pet owner, I am a brand strategist, I am a customer when I walk into Starbucks. So I'm a friend, I'm an uncle, all these things. So people play different parts, and therefore archetypes represent the state of mind in a particular context. That's why you need to pick and choose archetypes for your audience based on the context. So that's why when I say, just picking a context, picking an archetype, it should not be arbitrary, should not be random, should not be just based on because you think, oh yeah, because my audience is this, maybe, as a ruler, because, no, it doesn't work like that. You got to be really careful. You got to be very scientific in this approach. So this audience building process has to be highly scientific. Scientific, yeah. But it should also be an art form because there's no rule of thumb. You need to feel what your audience is about. What is that worldview? And then when you pick those archetypes, you create the persona. And you then know what kind of a message would work. Or at least you have an idea, and then you craft your message. And when you put that message out, that's when magic happens. So today, sit down, think through who your audience is. If you are still thinking in terms of the demographic, it's 30, 35, all this, then take a pause. Take another, if you're on the computer, another screen or paper, and start writing down the psychographics. What is the mindset that I'm going for? What is the kind of personality that I'm going for or would find this appealing? Yes, of course, it's still subjective on your ideas. So you can't really, escape the fact that there is still some guesswork in there. But at least it's a guesswork that goes beyond just a 35, 45-year-old man, wanting to travel, which is the most basic of the demographics, right? Okay, so let me know today. Drop a comment below if you understand your audience perfectly. Or if you don't, how are you approaching your audience? Are you even thinking about your audience? Or do you just have a vague idea and then you have your message? In the previous video, and I will leave a link here or in the description, I talked about clarifying and simplifying your message. And to simplify and clarify your message, you need a deep understanding of your audience because your audience defines your message, right? So understanding your audience, creating that audience persona is critical. Just let me know below what you think of this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try and answer them. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do it right now. And hit the bell icon so that when the next video in this series comes out, which is all about clarifying the message and how to be effective, right? How to create an effective brand, right? It's not about just sitting there and waiting and hoping for customers to come and then realizing a couple of years pass by and your sales have plateaued and no, none of that. You got to be proactive. You got to work at creating a brand that is much more than the sum of its parts, and it's much more than your product or service and all that, right? Till the next video, go forth and prosper and take care.